Hey class, this is Eddie Hale, and today I'm going to show you how to draw ribbons. Ribbons are fun. I did some sketches of ribbons here, and the reason I think ribbons are a fun thing to draw and a valuable thing to draw is because this one, as you see, has lots of curves on it, so it'll be pen tool, skill review, and we're going to make it symmetric, so that'll be fun to flip over the shape and make it perfectly symmetric. And then we're going to do type on a path also. That is a thing we've done in the past, but it'll be fun to practice it again here. Before we make this complex shape, I'm going to make a much simpler shape down here. I started with a rectangle. I made this rectangle. It's got a light fill and a really thin light gray stroke. I'm going to curve it, and so my ribbon's going to be curved, but it's going to be fairly simple. There's this tool hidden under the pen tool called the anchor point tool. And if you click on a rectangle and drag, it causes curve handles to jump out of it where there were none before. And I can make this rectangle kind of curvy like that. I'm going to deselect that then. Oh my goodness, that looks funny. I wonder why that looks like that. That was just the thing with the screen, I think. I'm going to deselect that. I'm going to switch to the rectangle tool again, and I'm going to draw a rectangle here as wide, or as tall as that edge of the ribbon. I'm going to send it to the back, object, arrange, send it back. Then I'm going to take the white arrow, and if I grab this edge of it, not the anchor point, but this edge, it'll pull that whole edge down like this. And it sort of looks like that shape folds back on itself. I'll draw another rectangle here. Wider, but as tall as that one. I will send it to the back. I think this is the last time I'll go to arrange, send it back. After this, I'll use the keystrokes that I know. I'll grab this edge and pull it down. Now there you go. You got half a ribbon. I would select those two pieces, just these two, not the ribbon itself. And then I would reflect them. The neatest way to do that is to find the center point. I have Smart Guides turned on, Command U, and that must be my center right there. I'm going to click once with the tool in the center here. I'm going to move the cursor vertically above or below that, it doesn't matter, and now hold Shift and Option and click again, and it flips a copy of those things over the center point. Perfectly vertically over the center point because I held the Shift and the Option key. I switch to the white arrow. If I click anywhere on this path and then go to copy and paste, edit copy, edit paste, I get this path here that's parallel to this path here. It's just an open path. And we know this about the type tool. If I click on the type tool and I go over an open path, it changes to the type on a path tool. Now I can click and I can type in all caps, Yellowstone. Unfortunate that it's upside down, isn't it? I'm going to flip it to the other side. If I double click on the type tool right now, I get this type on a path options, and I can click this flip button. If I turn preview on, this flip checkbox will flip the type from one side of the path to the other. I can go back to my arrow tool and I can drag this bar over here, and I can center the type using the center buttons in the properties panel. I've determined that Garamond is a nice font. I'm going to drag this up onto this ribbon and make it much bigger. It's wouldn't it be nice if the letters were parallel to the edge of the ribbon, like if the E was parallel to this vertical edge? There's a way to do that. I can double click on the type tool again to bring up this type options, and I can change it from rainbow. I'm going to turn on preview. Rainbow, several of these are worthless, but skew is pretty nice. Skew tips the letters straight up and down, and now it looks sort of like it's printed on that ribbon, don't you think? I'm going to do one other thing. I'm going to change these two pieces that fold underneath. I'm going to make them a little darker. There, does that sell it as a ribbon that folds back on itself? Let's scroll back up and do this one now. I kind of like this one. I'm going to do half of this ribbon. I'm going to choose this as the center point. I'm going to switch to the pen tool, which is hidden over here. I'm going to press and drag to the left. I'm going to hold Shift so that my direction handles go perfectly parallel. I'm going to come all the way around this curve and press and drag down this way. and I'm dragging exactly parallel to that edge of the ribbon. I'm going to go down here to the end of the ribbon, the tippy end of the ribbon, and click right there. Then I'm going to drag another direction handle out, again parallel to the edge, telling the path that I want it to shoot up that way before it comes back to the middle here. My smart guides are turned on. You should turn your smart guides on. Command U turns them on and off, because I need this anchor point to be exactly below that first anchor point I drew. And now when I press and drag, that direction handle is going to shoot out the backside of the anchor point and make that curve very full. I'm going to hold the shift key so these direction handles are perfectly horizontal. And there's half of my ribbon. I'm going to change the color so you can see. Let's do something like that. Now I have to draw this piece that goes under here. I'm into overlapping, so my piece is going to go below the front of the ribbon. I deselected. You have to deselect this piece because otherwise when you click here you'll delete that anchor point. So deselecting, my smart guides tell me that I'm right on that anchor point. I'm going to press and drag. Again, the handles have to go parallel to that edge. I am going to change something here. I'm going to change my color to light blue because then you can see my direction handles. They're parallel to that edge. I'm going to come over here to the tip of that piece in back, and I'm going to press and drag in the same direction. So parallel makes that nice little S curve. I want this direction handle to go away because I want the path to go straight up this way. So I'm going to click on the anchor point, and that direction handle will go away. Now I can come up here, click the path kind of parallel to the edge of the ribbon again. I'll come out here to the edge of the ribbon, click, and click on that spot. So now I have a piece there that looks really weird until I send it to the back. I told you I'm going to use my keystroke shift command and then the left bracket to send that to the back. Now I'll draw this piece out here. It will also go under this front face of the ribbon. I deselected that again. It has to be deselected so that I can click here and press and drag out in the same direction as, in the same angle as that ribbon edge. I've experimented a little bit, so I know that I can use an anchor point right here in the middle of this curve. Then this is review. I'm going to hold the Option key and break this handle and pull it up here so it's pointy. I'm going to press and drag here so I have two direction handles to control that curve. Hold the Option and break it. Tell the path to shoot out that way. Drag here. Hold Option and break that direction handle. Come up in here and drag so that it fills out that curve real nice and round. Now I need to make this shape just big enough so that when it goes behind these other shapes. Now I'm going to use my keystrokes for send to back, shift command left bracket, sends that to the back. There you go, half a ribbon. So fun. Now you can come back with the white arrow and adjust things if you have to. Something like that. If these aren't parallel, you can mess with these a little bit, trying to keep that same like parallel to the edge of there. Okay, so now I'm going to flip a copy of this over and I'm going to flip it exactly on this center point. I need to choose the black arrow. I'm going to do it two different ways. I'm going to do it the awesome way and the just okay way. The awesome way is you select this right here with the black arrow. You go to the reflect tool, which is probably hidden under the rotate tool. The tool tip for that is O. Now I'm going to click on this top anchor point, just one click, and then move my cursor straight down below it. I'm going to hold shift, which makes the axis perfectly vertical, and Option. If you look at my cursor, I get that double cursor. It tells me it's going to flip a copy. Now my second click will make it flip a copy. If that didn't work, you have to undo and rewind the tape 20 seconds and carefully follow those steps. It's a click and then it's just shift Option click. These are two different pieces though, so I have to make them one, which I'll show you in a second how to do that. I'm going to drag this down here. The other way that I don't think is as neat, but I bet you'll kind of like, is you can go to, I select this with a black arrow, I go to Object, Transform, and I want to reflect it. It gives me a dialog box like this. It shows me the preview of what's going to happen when I flip it. But instead of clicking OK, I click Copy, and then I get two of them. Now I've got a duplicate of it here. And the issue I'm having is I have to get it exactly on top of this. I have to get this anchor point exactly on top of that anchor point. And I know a trick. It's kind of clunky. Everything has to be selected with the black arrow. If If I switch to the white arrow now, I can grab this anchor point and drag it over here. And when my cursor turns white, it means those anchor points are right on top of each other. They can't be close to on top of each other. They have to be exactly on top of each other. So now with those two there, I can take the white arrow and draw a tiny little marquee around that spot, and I select those two anchor points. And I'm going to go to Object, Path, Join. If I move that anchor point, yeah, you'll see that it is one anchor point now. They've been joined to one anchor point. Command Z. I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to draw a tiny little marquee around that spot with the white arrow. And I'm going to go to Object, Path, Join. Now I'm going to select this thing and I'm going to make it a little prettier. I'm going to make the stroke narrower, 0.5. You don't have to have a stroke on here if you don't want to. I'm going to select these pieces here, shift click on those two. I'm going to make them a little darker so they feel like they recede behind the ribbon. I'll click on these pieces here, double click the foreground color, make them not as dark as that middle piece. I'm going to take the layer and turn off that visibility on the vector layer. There, that kind of looks like a ribbon. Again, I think it would be fun to work on a gradient that would gradient like from dark to light to dark and dark to light on the end here, but it's too much for this video. I want to set type on this path now, and that is why I need this bottom to be like one continuous path. I'm going to click on this anchor point right here and I'm going to copy and paste. Copy, paste. I get a copy of that down here. I'm going to take the type tool, just like I did down below. The type tool will turn into type on a path. Thankfully, it's on the top side now. Caps lock. I typed Yellowstone, even though it doesn't fit on there. Remember this trick. That little red plus means there's hidden type in there. Don't ever click on that box. Don't ever click on this little white box. But I'm going to grab this bar here and pull it across all the way, so now it is centered on that path. I can pull it up here. It is too big. I'll make it a smaller font, and I'll set it in there and make it some other color. Is there a little imperfection down here? It's a tiny imperfection. I can see that path sticking out there. I'm going to move this. Click on this. I'm in the white arrow. I'm going to move that little thing in there a little bit. Here's your ribbon. I want you to try that. When I come back to class next time, I want to see some sort of ribbon like that. Try the curvy one. Try the straight one that we did down here, and show those to me next time. And hey, leave your comments below. I'll talk to you later. Bye.